Hey everyone, this is David Brown with the migration update for May 2nd, 2023 from the Braddock Bay Hawk Watch. Kim and I started out the day at the Braddock Bay East Spit, not expecting anything huge to be going on, and it was a fairly cloudy morning, kind of nice and still and a little bit more quiet than it's been some of the recent days when the lake has been pretty loud. This photo is a bit grainy because it was so dark when I took it, but here we have a male yellow-rumped warbler. Here's another look at the same male yellow-rumped warbler. You can see that yellow on the head here in the wing pit area and also the yellow rump. And you can also see that distinctive tail pattern that they have as well. And there were a decent number of yellow rumps around this morning, I think more than a dozen. So we're coming into a time where the other warblers haven't really hit in good numbers yet, but we're definitely getting a lot of yellow rumps. There were a couple of bald eagles perched out near the end of the spit, and this one posed nicely for me. I think the bird of the day was double-crested cormorants. There were just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. You can see a lot of them lined up on the pier that comes out from the west spit. We finished up early at the east spit, came over to Braddock Bay Park and walked around there a bit. The highlight of that morning walk was a northern water thrush that we heard singing. There was a bit of morning sunshine before it became more overcast, and winds were moderate out of the southwest, a little bit stronger than we had expected. Even so, it took a little while for the flight to get going. It was slow for the first 2 hours, and then finally, in that 11 a.m. hour, we had some broadwing kettles start to form and a good number of bald eagles moving and small numbers of red tails. So had at least 1 hour of good migration, and then after that, just had rain showers move in, and that kind of shut the flight down. Around 12:30, the wind shifted to a lake breeze, and that didn't help us at all, to say the least, and the flight never really picked back up, and then rain ended the count early at 1 p.m. I should also mention that as of yesterday, the bathroom building is open. Here we have a male purple martin, which is our largest species of swallow. Here's a juvenile bald eagle, one of many that was hanging around the bay and hunting in the morning, and then when the conditions improved, a lot of them circled up high and migrated on. Here's a juvenile red-tailed hawk. You can see those dark patagial bars in the belly band, and it's a juvenile, so it has no dark trailing edge to the wing and no red tail. Compare that to this adult red-tailed hawk, where again we see the dark patagial bars and belly band, but we also see a dark trailing edge and a red tail. Compare the shape of those red tails to this bird. This bird looks a little skinnier, a little bit lankier, kind of long, skinny wings that are slightly pointed, longer tail. This is a northern harrier, and it looks unstreaked below, so this would be a juvenile. And there was a bit of a feeding frenzy out on the bay with just cormorants everywhere and a lot of gulls and terns and eagles all feeding on fish, I guess. And a lot of the cormorants eventually moved onto the rocks of the barrier island. And here's more cormorants perched on the last tree of the west spit. We had a sandhill crane fly over. Notice the cranes fly with their necks out straight, and they also have long legs and feet hanging out behind. The only falcon of the day was this male American kestrel. And you can see that when the males spread their tail, that all of the tail feathers except the outer ones have a lot of orange on them. Sometimes when the tail is folded, you only see the outer tail feathers, and you might not even see much orange at all, or sometimes no orange. There's a bit of tail variation between kestrels. Here we have a raptor in a glide posture, and from the shape, we can guess that this is a buteo. And it looks somewhat big and bulky. You can see the dark patagial bars and the belly band. And we see no dark trailing edge, and you can't really make out much about the tail. You can see a pale inner primary patch. So this is a juvenile red-tailed hawk. And here's a look at another juvenile northern harrier. This one a little bit closer. Again, notice that it has virtually no streaking underneath, and that this whole area here is unmarked. And here's the top side of the same harrier, and you can see that white rump patch. Taking a look at the eBird checklists from today. From the East Spit in the morning, we only had 37 species, so a relatively small checklist. And at Braddock Bay Park, it wasn't the birdiest day ever, but we still managed to get 56 species. Taking a look at the HawkCount report for our migrant raptor totals, today we had 23 turkey vultures, 2 osprey, 11 bald eagles, 2 northern harriers, 13 sharp-shinned hawks. For Buteos, we had 91 broadwings and 8 redtails, and we had 1 American kestrel for a total of 151 migrants today. That brings the May total to 2,686 and the season total to 39,511. And the only new species for the season was a bobolink, and I had taken my camera and some other stuff over to the platform and then gone back to my car to grab the rest of my stuff, and that's when the bobolink had flown in and perched in a tree. So didn't end up getting photos of it, but this is a species that we'll see pretty consistently through the month of May, so we'll have plenty of opportunities to get good photos of them. Taking a look at the forecast for tomorrow, it's looking cloudy with showers with a high in the mid-40s, winds northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour, so would only expect light migration. For Thursday, cloudy with a slight chance of a rain shower, high around 50, winds north-northwest at 5 to 10, only expect light migration. For Friday, cloudy early with partial sunshine later, slight chance of a rain shower, high in the mid-50s, and a light northeast lake breeze, so expect light migration, maybe moderate. We'll keep an eye on it, but might end up over at Frisbee Hill. So it's not looking real good for raptors the next few days. What about songbird migration? This is for tonight. We can see that we're in an area of low migration. For the next night, still low. And the next night, maybe slightly better. Well, not the best forecast for the next few days, but maybe that just gives me a little chance to rest before we get into the peak of the warbler migration over the next few weeks. We are in May. You never know what's going to show up, so we'll be hopeful that we'll find some goodies along the way. Hope to see you out soon at the Braddock Bay Hawk Watch platform. From Lyco Birds, this is David Brown. Thanks for watching.